everybody, my name is Chris, and this will be my spoiler review for episode 2 of Secret Invasion. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, we'll be talking full spoilers here. Ready? Let's go. So episode 2 of Secret Invasion has already dropped on Disney Plus. Now let's get into the dirty business everybody wants to know about. Is how long Nick Fury has been with a Skrull. Now this is now canon in the MCU, and joking aside, what I'll be doing here is giving you my spoiler review and my thoughts in general about Secret Invasion episode 2. Now, jumping into it right now, I gotta say I'm still enjoying this show. It's really good so far, and I like episode 2, but I'm feeling kinda bit empty. Now, what I mean by that is that I love what Samuel L. Jackson is doing with Nick Fury, and again continue this exploration of trying to find out his footing and become the man we remember. And Grabe as this rebellion leader of the Skrulls, trying to just take back after waiting for so long to get a planet of their own, and that Nick Fury promised them. Now this episode opened up just a recapping the events of the first Captain Marvel movie and the relationship Nick Fury will have with these Skrulls, saying, I'm gonna look out for a planet for you guys. In the meantime, I need you to work for me and help me keep my planet safe. After so long, it will make only sense that a group of them will become very impatient and just taking matters into their own hands. So I'm behind the motivations with the villains here. I think they are understandable and make sense, and have what they're going on in here. Like the story to me feels grounded than this show is letting on to be. Now moving into the meeting of the Skrulls, and in this scene we see several key characters that show up on the council. The leader of NATO is one, the UK's Prime Minister, and the FSN host, who's played by Christopher McDonald, and they are all in position of power, and Grave despise them because of what they're doing and not taking action, and they hold a vote whether Gravitt shall be put in charge, and they select him as general of the Skrull, and only one member vote against him, and he seems to let her go. But it's interesting that now he's had the full support of the council, so we'll see what that leads to. And I want to talk about the Connor Rose scenes in this episode, because that's someone I was looking forward to see in Secret Invasion. Connor Rose has always been one of my underrated favorite characters in the MCU. There's so much to him, and you can do so much with him, especially with Don Cheadle as just a fantastic actor, and him as War Machine, and very excited to see him get his own movie with Armor Wars. Now his little interaction with the council and trying to clean up Nick Fury's mess, throwing in the joke that if that Slovakia keeps looking at me, that was so funny. He's going out in the suit and go to war, and I love all that in this episode, especially kind of the face off that happens between Connor Rose and Nick Fury, just like the back and forth that happens between them, and almost Connor Rose saying a lot about what I thought about Secret Invasion, where he's like, look, you're saying there's an alien invasion field with shapeshifters. We can contact the Avengers, we can get anybody. You alone are gonna to have to do this. Do you know how crazy you sound? But at the same time, I completely get Nick Fury's point of view on here, and you start involving the Avengers in here, and you call up some super people, and then you just put them at risk to end up in Nick Fury's position where they get blamed for some giant terrorist attack, and it just compromises everything. What I think the most interesting piece of information was laid out during this scene, though, is the fact that Connor Rose has known about the Skrulls for about 50 years apart as part of a government project here. Now, there's been a lot of speculation. We don't know who is going to end up as Skrull, and although there could be like a big twist review, the Connor Rose this entire time has been a Skrull. I don't know if that I would love that. I would like to believe there is still like an actual Rudy out there somewhere, that this entire time the MCU we haven't been following a Skrull. But the show needs to have a reason, a very good one, of why Rudy is aware that those girls are out there. I do like what happens in episode 2, the setup of the super Skrulls that are coming, and because that's something we figure was coming. In one of the trailers for Secret Invasion, we see Gravity having super Skrull like powers, and that is clever the way they are doing here, because in the comics it was a Skrull scientist who created the super Skrull, recreating the powers of the Fantastic Four. Now, unfortunately, the Fantastic Four haven't been yet introduced yet in the MCU, so the MCU has to do his own version, and is to someone comics faithful, and we see it if he's I think it's really satisfying so far. So it seems MCU Super Skrull will be based on 4 power sets. That is not only like the Fantastic Four, but they found power set that kind of mirror those characters as well. We grew, that's kind of like the stretchiness of Mr. Fantastic. Extremis, which features a healing factor but also give us extreme heat, like the Human Torch. Cop Obsidian, that's giving me vibes of the Thing from the Fantastic Four. And then instead of invisibility, they seem to have gone with Frost Beast for like a hot cold dynamic, and I think it works. Now, all of them, they reveal the extremist the last, and that is interesting, and that is from Iron Man 3, where Maya Hansen from AIM created extremists, which gave its subjects a super healing factor, enhanced them like super soldiers, and allowed them to expel intense heat. Now that rewrote human DNA, so who's to say they couldn't be used to rewrite Skrull's DNA? And maybe Rosa and Victor Dalton, the married couple of the scientists that are doing the experiments here, they are from the comics, and I could see them maybe be formerly AIM, or perhaps they have worked with Hansen in the past. And since that the idea for the Super Skrulls is for the Skrulls to be able to take on the Avengers if they ever show up, and looks like the team is currently out of commission. Now, bringing us to the end of this episode, where this had my jaw kind of in the floor and wondering that even what is going on right now. Now, who is Nick Fury? Because this man, it continues to be a mystery. We see Nick Fury heading into a house very casually, expecting. I was expecting just to meet up like we an old friend, sort of. It's revealed it looks like to be his wife. So this seems to be the same Skrull lady who introduced Nick Fury to Gravik at the beginning of the episode. So he's aware that this is a Skrull, and I guess after years and years of working with them, he grew fond of one and enough to marry her. Gotta admit, this was kind of a little bit of a surprise to me. And Nick Fury is like never around. He's never on Earth. He's always doing something. But his wife does not seem to mind all that much. We don't know how long it's been since we last saw her, whether it's years, months, and she's still willing to greet with him and giving some hugs and kisses. And I wonder if Nick Fury having a Skrull wife has anything to do with the fact that he's never put the plan in action to find them their home, because he knows once he does that, there is an skill for that person, I guess he loves, to leave him. But then that barely makes sense in my mind with how often Nick Fury leaves her behind. Still, something that we didn't know about the character before, and with this is something new. It's interesting. I'm wondering what they're going to do that in the future. Episode 2, I'm still invested. Super great. And that scene with Olivia Colman in the interrogation room, that was just excellent. I mean, she's a phenomenal actress, and she really knows how to use the humor here and also being serious. So I love that. So those are my thoughts on episode 2 of Secret Invasion. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, consider subscribe to your channel, and bye bye. I'll see you guys later.